Yo, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 86. I am your host, Supreme King. Joined with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Obesus.
Yo, I think it's officially... And I don't think we got to knock on wood on this, because I know last year sometime I went there a little bit. But I think the winter is officially over. At least on paper.
Snowstorm this upcoming week. Look at
And the reason why I say it is because the birds came back, and I feel like the birds are better meteorologists, weathermen, or whoever than anybody else, because they usually stay down south until it's like warm, and I don't know how they just know, but they know. But now a bunch of them is back. I see them everywhere. By birds, I mean super big ducks and a whole bunch of like seagulls. But they're all here now, and so I think that means it's over. But
you mean the geese? Wait, is that the
geeks? My bad. Geese? I don't know. Yeah, them big old things that just be in the parking lots and stuff, just sitting there, just in the way, daring you to hit them. Yeah. So. Yeah, shout out to them, I guess. But welcome to the podcast for everybody. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're going to get right into it. Nintendo footage is on the screen on purpose. This is Kirby in the Forgotten Land. But Nintendo did not forget about them emulators. I wanted to just go ahead and talk about this first before getting into some of the...
You to forget about them.
Yeah. Funny enough, so I think if anybody out there has already downloaded, I checked it on mine. If you've already installed the emulator, whatever version you have will work with whatever games it was already working with, like on your machine. But the official website was now confiscated somehow. Nintendo has all rights to this emulator somehow. They just gave them... what's really weird about it is it didn't become a court battle at all. It really was just settled almost immediately, because we had just reported that it was a thing last week, and then not even a full week had went by, and it was just like, oh, they settled and agreed to pay Nintendo something like 2.4 million or something like that. And then on top of that, they have to hand over the rights to the actual emulator website. And so I guess if you go to the website to get a new version of it, it'll just have the statement up there. And then they had to...
Nintendo track your IP address and send you a letter, like, get off this website.
It's just kind of silly. One thing about it for me, though... Well, let me just mention... For anybody out there wondering if you had, like, you know, the Steam Deck or something, or you just had this on your regular PC, the software that you have will still work if you're wondering. But if you wanted to get it brand new, let's say you go buy the Rogue Ally tomorrow or something, and you still just want it on there, you won't be able to officially get it from Yuzu. You just have to dig on the internet. It'll be on plenty of people forums and stuff. It's up to your discretion, so you don't have to, you know, or you have to watch out for like viruses or whatever. But you'll be able to find the emulator somewhere. Not only that, the competitor emulator is still active. Ryujinx, I think.
Not only that, there's more popping up.
That's another thing that I wanted to get into, because that reminds me of the guy who hacked PlayStation just a few months ago, right? And they were trying to give the dude like life in prison, because one of the things he said was he can't wait to get out so he can do it again. Yeah. And it's just like, for some people, it probably just, this type of thing just doesn't click for them, and they don't care what the severity of it is, even if they are in prison. You know, because even the Doug Bowser's person's name kept coming up even after the fact, you know, with everything else that was going on and everything. He's almost like a celebrity in the piracy gaming world almost, right? And so, like, it, for some people, it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't stop them. You almost have to like unalive them or something.
Some of them, I think, honestly feel like, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong,
It empowers them.
whether I support or don't, but I feel like they're like it's like a fighting the system, like it's sort of a justice sort
Yes.
of thing, right? And because of that, it's like the heroes aren't going to give up, and in their mind, they're the hero. I'm
Yeah.
sure several people might feel the same way, uh, but they feel like it's like nope, someone needs to do it, and it's just like I'm willing to be in trouble for go. So you try and take me down, I'm not quitting. Like that's where they're at.
Yeah, I think so. This podcast, as of this recording, will probably go up tomorrow. But I think I said last week I wanted to make a solo vid on this, and I think I still might actually make the video tomorrow, and it might go up either over the weekend or sometime next week. The story would be kind of dead by that time, but I'll say what I want to say here. But I think I still want to section it off. But I think Nintendo does have every right to definitely they have every right to protect their IP. They should protect their IP. I still look at this as a situation where somehow we're suing the CD player or the DVD player. You know what I mean? Like we're suing the people who just made the hardware or something, and we're just mad
Right.
at. It seems kind of weird to me
Where it's
because
like target the people who's copying your,
yeah,
copying and redistributing your stuff, not the person who made it like able to be played because they were just making something. Who knew what it would be for?
but they did that to the
There,
people. The creator of I think LimeWire, if I remember correctly, they gave the dude like 70 years or something a long time
which is
ago.
crazy. 'Cause he wasn't the one uploading music.
Yeah, and everybody else, they still do it, right? They still do it everywhere else. They still could pull up literally a whole album under a YouTube video, right? But the creator of the website somehow is the one in jail. And like I remember I saw a video where they had like video cameras on like troops that were like super geared up. Like they looked like the muscle dude from World War Z. Remember the dude who's like charging or whatever?
The riot soldier.
Yeah, like it was a bunch of people doing that, and like they had the body cams on them where they landed on like their property with a helicopter. And it was the creators of I believe it was Pirate Bay, or it might have been one of the other ones, but it was one of them. It was just like, but the people are the ones who's doing that, not really them. Maybe I don't know how they was getting paid. Maybe you could say it was ads on the website because people put ads on everything at this point. So maybe they got some ad revenue from somebody who went to the website and was trying to pirate something and they saw an ad first, right? But it's like that didn't stop them. So here's 3 or 4 more people, the heads of the websites, the heads of the people who did the emulator website, Doug Bowser, and then who like the Yuzu people, they just didn't go to jail. They just agreed to get rid of all of their work. But it's like, well, piracy is still going to keep going. I think that's just something that they just have to understand. With Nintendo, the main thing that I want to say is they're trying to put a band-aid on a situation that they're not actually solving. The problem, just like what I said before, is they need to make sure their next hardware is better. And then not only that, your security needs to be better too. Every generation, the main stuff to emulate is the Nintendo stuff. Everybody else's stuff is harder to emulate. That's the funniest thing about it, because it's like the PS3 right now is the hardest, right? Because it's on a different type of architecture, the cell processor basically. So a lot of those games were stuck on the system forever. And even the best of the best computers with the top of the line graphics card can't even run a lot of those games, just because of its processor. But Nintendo went out of their way to have smaller discs on the GameCube and different cartridges on all the other systems, specifically so that they don't have piracy. And then each generation, their stuff is the easiest to emulate. It's like, how is that? That's just so embarrassing when you really think about it. It's like, dude, like seriously. It's goofy. It's goofy.
I think also they need to. There's other things too where they need to stop like drip feeding classic stuff. Stop trying to be overpriced with everything. Like honestly, people pirate. Like there's gonna be some people who just gonna pirate regardless, but other people pirate
Yeah.
only to not be cheated. Right? Out of stuff. When you start making things way too expensive, way too complicated to get, it's not gonna be great. Or just, then you're just like, oh, you know what? I don't care about this. I'm just gonna get it by my own means. So I think
The
that's an issue as well.
the Game Boy Advance was a really cool system, right? And it's one of those things where everything, including your phone, for almost everybody, including your phone, can play it with literally no problem, right? But
Yep.
then the official way that Nintendo has it set up is they'll drip feed a couple games every month. And it's like, yo, the entire library is like less space than like one of these game clips that we downloaded, right? The entire library, I'm talking A to Z, licensed, unlicensed games. And it's like whatever the fee is for the Game Boy Advance game to be licensed over, please pay it. Like, please pay the fee and put the entire library on your online, your online expansion pack. How is it that that thing is $50 for the whole year, which isn't too bad, but you're drip feeding like 2 or 3 of those games per month? So it's like you're at the end of your life cycle at this point, though, right? So it's just like, why wasn't the whole thing just put on there? Like
Right.
it's kind of silly. And then they're doing this thing where they'll try to like repackage a GameCube game here and there as a remaster. Um, like I said, the Dolphin emulator, a lot of these a lot of these games are like perfectly emulated. It's not even like the PS3 thing. Like you could make the argument that you might as well save yourself the headache and just get the PS3 because of how poor the emulation is for a lot of devices. But quite literally, just a PC. I'm talking a laptop or one of the new handhelds. Like any regular PC is playing the GameCube with no problem, playing the Wii with no problem. You know what I'm saying? So the
Upscaling
gamer,
them too.
yeah, the gamer don't got time to wait for you to drip feed. Why wasn't the whole thing just put on the old expansion pack? That expansion pack will be in the argument right next to Game Pass and PS Plus Extra and Premium if you loaded that bad boy up.
Yep.
Like whatever that license fee is, pay it. Like pay the license fee and throw that entire library up there. Have a full catalog, and nobody would worry about, like, if you put that up there and then your hardware is up to date, nobody's pirating. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's still gonna be a couple who's just gonna do it just because. Some people, if it's free, I'll go out of my way to just get the free version. That's how some people feel. To
But
the
other
point,
people want convenience.
yeah,
However, convenience like can't be at any cost.
yeah. I'm a fan of the Switch itself. Even after I've criticized it to death so many times, I do plan to get the weird little Peach game that they concocted up when it comes out later this month. Maybe I won't get it exactly this month, might be next month, but I do plan to get it. I'm just saying their hardware and their online structure and then also their security system is the real solution that they need to focus on. Not trying to sue everybody who's taking advantage of them. That security should be number one, really. Like, how is this happening every generation where their stuff is the easiest to emulate. It's like it's one thing for your stuff to be emulated along with everybody else. It's another thing for yours to be the easiest every generation. Like quite literally, every generation it's the easiest to emulate. That is not good.
Yeah.
That's not good at all. Like what's going on with the security on that? You know, like quite literally I can emulate a Switch game easier than emulating a Playdate game. How is this? That
Yeah,
isn't that is not called for. That's uncalled for, Nintendo. That's uncalled for. But at the same time, if for everybody else trying to come out with their pro version of their system, whereas like everything we said on the box, we're gonna actually do it this time, we promise. I feel like, well, the Switch 2 definitely needs to be in that category. You cannot afford to come out with another system that's going to be 6 or 7 years behind because people are going to keep emulating for that reason. Literally. There's no way you could do that where, like, in real time, the PC market is going to keep coming out with a handheld that's like double the power in every category, you know? So yeah, I don't think that they're solving the problem. I think they're putting a band-aid on the problem. But with the emulator being gone, I mean, it is what it is. I just feel like it's not going to stop emulation, period. It's just not. The YouTubers will make it seem like that for a video or two, but that's just what they have to do it. They have to make the video and they have to make it engaging, and fear is engaging, but in real life it's not real. Let's be real here. The emulation will keep going for more generations to come. It is what it is. Like, but yeah, they just got to work on that. Anything else you want to say on this? I don't know if we can keep going.
I think we covered it.
Yeah, we can move on to some more funner stuff. The Xbox showcase. Did you watch it this time? Did you ignore it? What'd you do? Did you watch it?
I looked up everything that was announced. I didn't
All right,
watch.
so he didn't even watch it, y'all. All right.
But we started an hour early. That was the time I was going to use to actually watch it. So I did look up a few trailers and everything, and I went through saw everything that was announced this time, at least.
Mm-hmm.
There's something, right?
Okay.
Every other time I went in blind. At least this one I know, and a lot of it was already announced before. Right, things I've already seen.
So there were some games that were shown that I even made a full video on because they debuted at the Game Awards, and I was hyped to see them. They some of them are on my wish list already. One in particular, I am more excited to play. I don't think I have a top 5 this year, but if I was to say that I would put like maybe 2 or 3 games on there, one of them from this list is on here, and we'll get to it in a second. But I did watch this show. I believe it is 30 minutes, roughly, somewhere around that. And it's just back-to-back trailers. And it's more of like a compilation of all the trailers. They just kind of put them back-to-back with a couple things in between where it's just like, if you want to see more of this particular game or something, go here, basically, is what they were doing. I think this was a good pacing, though. Far better than what Nintendo's partner showcase was before. Because nobody talked to you like you was 5 years old. I heavily appreciated that. Like I didn't need to be talked to like I was 5 years old. You could have just showed me the stuff.
Wow.
Through.
Wasn't that something?
Yeah.
Now look at our next trailer. Woo! Look at the colors.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the first one, funny enough, I don't know if it was just from one of my games I've been playing in the past, but Bandai Namco was the publisher for this. It was called Unknown 9 Awakening. It looks almost like they're trying to take some gameplay elements from Assassin's Creed because the girl was kind of like climbing all up all the buildings and everything.
Yeah. So I saw that and I'm like, oh, okay, this all looks kind of stealth related. And then she just pulled out the super magic, like take over everybody's body and change how they fight. Oh, but it looks like it's going to be primarily stealth.
Yeah, I was getting like emails and stuff on this. For some reason, it was just like Bandai Namco was like, "Hey, check this game out." And I don't know, it might have been from Code Vein or something. Like whatever I was playing, where you had to sign into something. Maybe I agreed to something because they were just showing me these emails on this. But yeah, it looks all right. It's coming out summer 2024. That looked more like a CGI trailer. We didn't really get to see too much, but from the looks of it, it was like, yeah, she's doing her stealth thing where she's climbing up and down all the buildings, and then she had her magic and everything. So I gotta see some more gameplay, but it looked dope. It looked dope. I don't see no problem with it. The next game that they showed, interesting enough, I think this one was also just a CGI trailer. I think it was called Slay of Hand.
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of Hand. It looks like a is the X-Men name, is the dude named Gambit?
Gambit.
Gambit, yeah.
Yeah.
The dude who do all the card tricks and stuff. Like she kind of was doing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
So
I
it's
was
a stealth action deck builder game.
okay.
So you're apparently trying to take down a witch coven. So I don't know. That one caught my attention. Also like deck builders. So
Okay, it might not be my cup of tea, but it's fine. Cool thing is, I think this one's gonna be day one in Game Pass. I didn't expect as many day one in Game Pass or announcements. I actually didn't even know that Game Pass was gonna be mentioned as much as it was. So it's kind of exciting to see a lot of this stuff is still brand new, that's coming out in the service. But yeah, that's one of them. The next one I thought was interesting, especially to be a Game Pass release. But it was called The Altars. And this one in my head was like a competitor to Starfield, simply just being a space exploration type game, but it doesn't have the first person to third person shooter elements. But the concept or idea of this is pretty cool. It reminds me of the movie Jet Li did a long time ago called The One, which was his version of like the Matrix, basically, where it was just like all these other versions of you and all of their like different personalities, but it kind of all traces back to like you overall. I think that's what they're doing with this. There were alternate versions of this one guy, and with all of their different decisions, it changes their personality a little bit, but they're all still technically the same person in a way, just from a different universe. Pretty cool concept. I'm not really sure how it plays because it looked like it was just more decision making almost, not so much too much like a first person or third person shooter.
no,
But
it's a survival game.
yeah, it's maybe it's not a Starfield competitor, but it's a space game was what I was getting at. They're in space basically doing their thing, and so I thought it was interesting because when they were just showing them walking around and stuff, that was the first thing came to mind. Was like, oh, Starfield. But hey, for anybody who loved the space games, this one will be right there waiting for you. If you've already put up enough hours in the Starfield at this point, you could play this. So day one in Game Pass as well. The next one I think was called Creatures of Ava. This will also be day one in Game Pass when it comes out. Now this one, like what you said, was very colorful. It was a very. It almost looked like this one would belong.
Because it's also isn't it a monster catcher game?
Kinda, yeah. What was interesting too is like the way that she was using her weapon reminded me of like the Ghostbusters games, because you had like this like beam of light coming from her staff, and you use that to like capture the monsters, I guess. It didn't look too much like something I would really want to play, but it still looked good in what it was, just for the art style and everything. And it might end up being a sleeper hit on Game Pass, or just like just a game that somebody would just pick up for the moment just because it's brand new. Yeah. The next one was kind of fun to me because I heard about this before, but didn't really like dwell on it. But basically, Chucky, yes, that Chucky, Child's Play Chucky, apparently is getting added to one of the Roblox games.
Oh, that confuses me.
That confuses you?
I thought Roblox was for kids.
Hey, hey, the Chucky dog was for kids, wasn't it? It was.
But the Chucky IP is for adults. But like
the Chucky doll was for the kid. Remember that was the whole point.
Yes, I get it. But like, I was like, when I hear Roblox, I think of just like kids. It's like, yeah, playing that Roblox and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and when I hear Chucky, it's in my head. It's he cusses, he murders, blood. It's like they're putting that in Roblox. Like,
yeah,
it felt off. Like,
hey, weird. Even though like it seems like Roblox is for kids, shout out to the first person shooter scene over there. They got some competitive players in some of them like games that they created, and some of those games can rival like the real games. Like Call of Duty, for example.
Don't know enough about Roblox.
Yeah, Roblox. So a lot of kids like play Roblox for sure on the level of Fortnite. They do. It's just it's what dreams for PlayStation, what they wanted it to be. It's kind of what Roblox is. There's just it's so many different games, but yeah, this was highlighted for Chucky. Chucky was in there trolling, doing what Chucky does. And I don't know if it was the original voice actor or not, but it was very close. If it wasn't, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Roblox in itself, like for anybody who's heard about it but has not actually played, like what you do is you just go into Roblox and then from there you would pick one of the games and it'll just be like a bunch of different games that people made, from almost everything from the shooters to like horror-ish games, some platforming and stuff. It's just you do everything and you look like a Lego character almost, basically. And Griefville is the name of the game that Chucky's going to be a part of. And Roblox get the W, man. They get the W. You gonna play this? You gonna download Roblox and play this, man? Play Chucky?
No.
You're not gonna do it, all right? Well, we tried. Here's another one. I said that in my notes I put it looks crazy. This was the Sinking City 2. It's a sequel. Yeah. That looked crazy. It was looking really crazy.
It has the Cthulhu stuff in it.
How you feel about this?
I want to check out Sinking City 1.
Okay.
Like, I was surprised it didn't hit my radar. So I'm going to go back and look at that one. Try and check that one out potentially. And then check out 2. Because the whole Eldritch horror scene is a fun scene.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I have not played the first one either, so it is something I'm probably going to take a look at, a bunch of gameplay, and then see how much it costs and where to get it, and add it to ever growing backlog. It is what it is. Next game that they showed was Final Fantasy 14. Finally coming over to Xbox. It's official. Hell froze over, like we said before, because this is Square Enix. So yeah, shout out to them for getting this. And then the next thing I showed was interesting because in my head I was like, why is this really getting this much time? But it was like the original or the Stalker trilogy series. It was like 3 games here, all through like backwards compatibility, I believe on the Series X is what they were showing. And I remember before they said they stopped their backwards compatibility, like converting games over. Like they got all the games that they can get with like the licensing and everything. But this looks like something that they cooked up real quick just for them. And I'm not too sure, but with them putting backwards compatibility on the screen, I would imagine if you got a disc, you might be able to just get it. Other than that, for everybody else, you probably just buy the digital version. But yeah, it got a lot of time that I didn't think it would get. But like, maybe it's because Stalker 2 is right around the corner, and I think they got like some time exclusivity on that.
Yeah,
It's
I
supposed to
think
be
that's
on
what I
Game
was thinking.
Pass.
Is because Stalker 2 is supposed to come out this year, September ish.
Yeah.
Uh, that's why they're like, hey, Stalker 1 for those who need to catch up.
Yeah. And for anybody out there that's a fan of Wreckfest, or maybe even the few people a fan of Destruction All Stars, here is Monster Jam Showdown. You know, the real monster trucks. You know what I'm saying? This looks kind of dope. It is coming out summer 2024, and it's what you would expect. I always said I wanted to go to one of those shows at least once and just see the carnage, but if that never happens, I at least get to play this game at some point if I really, really want to play it. Looks dope. How you feel about it? You see this?
Oh, yeah, I didn't care, to be honest. I was like, okay.
I mean, it's like a monster truck game, right? Or just it's like Destruction All Stars almost, right? But it got like name value. But yeah, it is what it is. It kind of also reminds me of Rocket League in a way, because you do, well, not, it's just the gameplay elements in a way.
Because
like,
there's cars?
because they're like, you know how they like,
it, really?
they crash into each other a little bit and kind of flip around almost, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I mean, but yeah, I guess, but yeah, and then probably one of the biggest highlights for a lot of people, they were showing an expansion pack that's going to be 3 parts for the latest Persona game, or Persona 3 Reloaded. First 2 parts are more cosmetics and that type of thing. The third part, I believe, is more story content. And that part is coming out September of this year. On the other parts, I didn't really write the release date down for the other ones because it was just more your cosmetics and everything, the skins. They're coming out periodically. I didn't know this was gonna have an expansion pack. I thought everything would have been in Persona 3 Reloaded itself because it's not really new.
But I figured it would, because remember there was a difference between Persona 3. Like Reloaded was based off of Persona 3, not Persona. And Persona 3, like P3P had extra stuff in it, like on Royal versus Persona 5. So I, like, as soon as I heard they were doing Reloaded, and once I heard that it wasn't, because I was like, why are they Reloaded if they just released the P3P again when they released Golden? And when I heard that this was based off of Persona 3, not P3P, I was like, they're gonna release extra expansion later, which I'm not a big fan of. I think it's a bit money grabby. And I just want Persona 6.
It's still their style, though. That's kind of their style, because that's what, like, it's almost in the same lane as like Golden or Royal in a way.
Yeah, where you release Persona 5, then you release Royal.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's more to the story, but you have to play the whole game again. At least for this one, they're not making you buy the whole game again. It's just adding the expansion. But it tells me I'm just going to wait till the expansion.
It does make me want to be a little hesitant on Persona 6, where it's just like I want to wait for the full version where they sprinkle the extra story.
Now, it also depends on how much you care about story stuff, because technically based off of, you know how they release other games, like they have Strikers and Tactica for Persona 5, technically speaking, all the real stuff is not canon. Like if you put Tactica and Strikers, ignores anything that happened in Royal. So
yeah, I guess you're right. You're right.
And Royal is not there, which so that means, it's like, do you play the extra one, or how much do you care about the story that, like, you want it to bleed directly into the spin-offs versus the extra story.
For me, it's more about just getting the full experience. Really,
I
I don't.
also agree with you there.
I think it's just more. If you got like more content, I would like to have access to it. Just because, really, it's like a.
I agree.
It's like a just because. But yeah, that's one of the hotter games that released this year. Um, it's got its fan base, of course, and I am looking forward to getting to it when I get to it. Now this next one is probably the highlight of the show for me personally, because it was one of the games that I kind of was like wowed at back at the Game Awards, and this is the first Berserker Kazan. Very action packed game. It looks like it's taking inspiration from old school God of War in a way, and well, not too old school. Just some of the combat here and there, and then also a little bit of Souls like in a way as well with just some of the boss battles.
It is labeled as a Souls-like game.
Okay, okay. So yeah, it's probably my biggest highlight, biggest thing that I'm hyped for. I have spoke on it in the past, along with the next game. But before I get to the next one, is this a highlight for you, or how you feel about this, the first Berserk?
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch gameplay. I don't know if I'll get into it. I'm not the biggest Souls person, but I like watching Souls.
I'm gonna get it. I don't know if it'll be day one though,
I
but
like watching Souls gameplay, and like I'll play through Remnant and stuff. But like, there's without like, us co-oping it, there was no way I would have went through Remnant on times.
right.
I'm gonna just cut it off. So, like, the co-op thing is more like I stick at it because I don't want to quit. You got your partner in the game, and you don't want to quit on it. But like,
Yeah, you persevere, you get through it.
I start getting sick of it, and then I start going, well, I got a whole backlog, and I'm over here getting mad. I'm just gonna go play something else. Like that's my thought process. So I don't really get super.
All right. Well, the next one was called Tales of Kinzira Zan.
Is that the Black Panther looking game?
Yeah. Another one that I spoke on before, because I believe this was also in the Game Awards release trailers, I guess. And yeah, so this ain't the first time we've seen this, but it is cool to see it. I have already wishlisted this one as well. I'm still more hyped for the first Berserker, but this one still looks pretty good. It still looks a lot like some of the games that I've highlighted in the past that are more like the indie type games, that are just more like side scrolling from left to right. So I'm looking forward to this one for sure. Funny enough, the next one I put Nope by, but what was you gonna say?
I was just saying that it does look fun with the side scroll and the.
Yeah.
I guess it looks like a cool game.
It's got some cool color correlation to it as well. That I like. But yeah, the next one I think was Frostpunk 2. I just looked at it and was just like, I don't know.
And I said no.
Yeah, I said no. I don't know.
I mean, it's a no for me too, but still, like.
I just I don't know. I'm not really trashing it. I was just like, I don't know if I really want to play it. But yeah, for everybody else, more power to you. That's pretty cool. And then I think the last one, I thought this was like really chaotic. Kunishi, I think is what it's called. Gamma Path of the Goddess. Oh, Gami Path of the Goddess. Yeah.
Tsugami Path of the Goddess.
Yeah. Game Pass 2024. It looked a little chaotic. I was just like, yeah, it looks cool, but I don't know about this one for myself. It just didn't look like it was like as polished. I don't know if that's the term. Maybe. It just doesn't seem like it's I I don't know. Maybe it's just not for me. I just put it that way. It's just not for me. I don't know. It just seemed all over the place. But I think I would try it. I could try it. That's not a big deal. But how you feel about this one?
Oh, I still don't quite. I don't know. Something about it is like, oh, like I seen the gameplay before. It looks interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna like jump to it.
I think for me, it's just the gameplay looks like it's been done before plenty of times. I just don't know how I would be hyped for this one. It reminds me of like shoot 'em ups. Like one of the Epic games that is free right now is like a shoot 'em up game. Whenever I see a shoot 'em up game, I feel like I see all of them. Like I feel like I've seen like it's the same arcade game almost, but it's like a different background slideshow or something. That's kind of how I feel about the shoot 'em ups, so I don't get really hyped about them. I just kind of play one here and there. But this kind of felt like the slasher that's like all the other slashers in a way. That's how it felt. But they finished strong with this. They closed with this particular game, so I guess they might have, some faith in it if it's considered like like something you would close the show with. But it was just a 30-minute show. I did appreciate this show. I liked it. I actually gave it an 8 out of 10, to be honest, as a show. I thought it was still put together very well, where it was just like, here's the first game, then on to the next one, rolled all the way to the last one. They didn't spend too much time with like developer talking about something, and then maybe they might have a cut back to some gameplay for like 5 seconds. It was just simply, here's the trailer, right? Yeah, I think it's also coming off of the Nintendo's partner direct, where I feel like more games had a little bit more time here, where you were able to digest a little bit better than at the Nintendo's partner direct, because it was kind of just thrown to you very rapidly, where you didn't get a chance to digest.
Like to do that thing like, hey, check these 5 trailers out. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you didn't really get a chance to digest it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate this one more. I guess you didn't watch it, so I don't know if you would rate it, but yeah, that I'm saying for myself 8 out of 10. I thought it was a lot better than some of the other ones. I do also think, because a lot of cool things were shown here with the Game Pass added to it, I think Xbox June show possibly might be a little bit better. Because if you're showing all these Game Pass releases now, then I would imagine that's their show that they count on the most to boost themselves in the business. So maybe that one's going to be a little bit better. It kind of it gets me a little hype for that show, because then you get to see the first party and a bunch of Game Pass stuff too. So yeah, more power to them. I think we can move on. Let me go ahead and just do the middle of the road stuff, and then we can move on to some of your topics. Shout out to Epic Games. I mention this all the time, where you can get a free game under Epic Games just by creating a profile. You don't need to have your credit cards or debit cards added to your profile. You just need to create a profile itself. You can use any gamer tag that you have from your past and claim these games. And then if you don't have a PC, once you get a PC, you can log in and you have access to all of these things that you could download for free. One of the games was Astro Duel 2. Shoot 'em up, just like what I was talking about. That's available now until March 14th. So you got plenty of time as of this recording. And then after that, from March 14th to March 21, or the 21st, one of the games that's going to be available is Deus Ex Mankind Divided. And I believe I have this one on 360, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll have the full PC version that will, be a little bit more upscale once I get the better rig. But yeah, Deus Ex games are classics in that generation. So this is a pretty cool one to get if you haven't already had it. And then also the next one is called The Bridge. I didn't look into it too much, but it's called The Bridge. So 2 games next week from the 14th to the 21st. Yeah. I didn't really write down no sales, but I will say continue to look into your not mama pops, what am I saying? Continue to look into your retailers because they drop some of these games down to the mama pop, price range. It's funny I say that, and mama pop's usually more expensive. I don't know what I'm talking about this thing. I don't know what I'm talking about, man. All I'm saying is just check out your retailers because they are still doing their liquidation thing with some of those physical games, and you can still find some sales that are like cheaper than your normal prices. From what I've seen, because I actually peeked in there earlier today, they still have some of those games where they're like $12 to $15 out there in the wild.
Hey.
So definitely take a look in places like Walmart, possibly Target as well, and Best Buy, where you can find a bunch of stuff that's brand new. It's not even used, for what you would normally see used at like GameStop. Yeah. But yeah, we can move on. Let's talk about Warner Brothers, man. Let's talk about all the live services.
All right.
You want to talk about it?
Rant time. All right. So, whoever's in charge of Warner Bros. Is a dummy. So, he decided, yeah, me being nice. So, they said that they want to escape the volatile AAA like kind of scene. Mm-hmm. And they said they've been looking at everything and they want to build games that you can like basically like you live in and you build in, you have fun in, and it goes on forever. So they're gonna focus more on live service stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting enough too because like what you just said reminds me of what they were saying about NFTs in a way. They were wanting you to have like they were calling it like their digital space, but they wanted you to build within it and basically give them money.
Yep. So basically, there's that, and they're saying that they want to do they're like, I mean, yeah, okay. Hogwarts Legacy did sell 22 million copies, and it was very successful. But that success isn't guaranteed. Is their logic? So they said, other things go bad, like Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, which didn't meet expectation. Now, here's the thing that doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. They're saying we don't want to stick to single-player, story-driven games because there's no guarantee it'll make success like our last single-player AAA story-driven game. However, we want to make games that can go on forever as a live service because we feel like those can be successful. Ignore our last one that just failed.
Yeah, what's also interesting about it, it's weird though because like there's live services that haven't been doing good in a lot of categories.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring that up, but he also kept mentioning like he was like we have 11 different like IPs to play with that we can build all this stuff with, like Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, DC. He kept mentioning Game of Thrones a lot, and I don't they haven't done much with it. Mm-hmm. Outside of another, it was like a phone game that didn't work out, I believe. But when we talk about this, right? So part of another story, Multiverses, is the tease that it's back, right?
So they're finally coming back from the beta.
Yeah. Now, people are happy that Multiverses is coming back. However, what they're upset about is the teasing, because some people paid $100 and did that Founders Edition just to have the game taken away for a year to be teased on a return with no guarantee they get any of their stuff back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I just lost $100 for no reason, right? So they're like, give me my game, I paid for it.
Right.
So there's that. Now, what I decided to do, and I was kind of looking this up. I was trying to look up what Warner Bros. Has brought up because I'm trying to understand where do they think their success in live service, right? So if we look at the stuff they've released, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League failed to meet expectation, and it was a live service game. Didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, and I'm ignoring the Batman Arkham re-release because those were already successful games. Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing. They re-released their single-player games on Switch, and it was still bought. Like, it's still successful. It's Arkham. Single-player game. Hogwarts
Right.
Legacy. Single-player game. Fantastic. Everybody loved it. Mortal Kombat 1. Sold well. Has its complaints from, like, Mortal Kombat players, but sold well. After they had originally released Hogwarts Legacy, they released a phone game called Harry Potter Magic Awakened. Yeah? When I looked at some of these, Harry Potter Magic Awakened, Metacritic score, user score of 4.5 out of 10. Generally unfavorable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the live service game. Hogwarts Legacy, of course, was an 84, right, on Metacritic, and sold now 24 million. Right? Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League failed to meet expectation for sales. It has a Metacritic score of 3.6. Mortal Kombat 1 sold 3 million units.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Suicide Squad didn't make it. Gotham Knights, another one that was theirs, right? You could tell it was going to be live service. They took the stuff out, but it's the live servicey parts that people don't like. It has about average score of 5.3. Still better than their actual live service games.
Yeah.
But in March of 2023, 10% less players, or there was like they were comparing the amount of people playing Gotham Knights to the people playing Arkham Knight, and there was 10% less people playing Gotham Knights than their successful single player Arkham Knights. Now, what I also want to compare this to, because again, they're trying to chase Power World money, right? Or they're trying to chase Fortnite money.
Yeah.
Or Overwatch money. And you can argue Rocket League. Those are your four, right? Like the live
I don't
service.
know about Rocket
like
League now, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's some that play. And I guess Dead by Daylight, I'll throw in there. They're keeping it up.
Yeah.
Right? As a live service thing. So there's some 5 successful live service games, right? So those are good. But let's remember Knockout City, The Culling, Crossfire X, Babylon's Fall, Marvel's Avengers, Evolve. So
I should probably mention this because I wrote it down. That was supposed to be mentioned during the Epic Games part, but apparently, the Crash Team Rumble game, is supposedly getting its last update, and they're not going to support it anymore. That was the game that was supposed to be like more live servicey as well.
So the live service Crash game.
It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. I don't know if it's going to get delisted, but at the very least, they're not gonna support it anymore.
Okay. You also mentioned, what was that one? Destruction All Stars.
Yeah, failed. Yeah. That
Foam
one was.
Stars ain't doing good.
That
no
one had like all the bots
Stars.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. No one's talking about Foam Stars, right? That's not doing good.
Yeah.
Right, but they keep saying, we should lead more into the live service because that's the one that's more guaranteed to succeed. But
the funny thing is, like, succeed for who? Because it's not for the people. It's not for the fans. Yep. It's not for the gamer. It's
so the other thing I wanted to compare this to, when we say it's the thing that succeeds, right? 2020 Game of the Year games, like the nominees, whereas Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Doom Eternal, The Last of Us Part 2, Animal Crossing New Horizon, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, all single-player games. 2021. Resident Evil Village, It Takes Two, Psychonauts 2, Metroid Dread, Deathloop, Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. Non-live service games, right? Because It Takes Two is multi. But 2-player. 2022. Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok. All heavily narrative single-player games, and Elden Ring. Which, of course, is still narrative if you look for it. And then 2023, Alan Wake 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 4, and Spider-Man 2. Non-live service games, right? All of the years of Game of the Year, non-live service games. The games that are doing great, non-live service games. Under the Warner Bros. Umbrella, they're games that sell, are the ones that are non-live service games. So
I think the
who
industry is
in
stubborn.
charge is out here saying, yeah, there's no guarantee for that success. Let's go with the one that has been failing us this entire time.
Yeah, it might be an
And
investor thing. Maybe they just want to
that's
go
what
with
it
what
is.
works
They
for
want to
them.
go, so they're canceling studios. So many games just got canceled. Everyone doing the live service stuff because all these investors keep seeing is you can ask for more money 5 months down the line in a live service game where you can't do that on the other one. That's
Hmm.
all they see. They don't think about the gamer. They don't think about any of that. It's just we can ask for more money later. Then the game fails and then just gets shut down. And then they don't get more money later. And they never made back money that they probably would have made if they released a single player. Like there is absolutely no reason to see Hogwarts Legacy 1 see Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, and then think for Hogwarts Legacy 2 to go the Suicide Squad route. Like, but that's what they're planning to do, right? They're doing that. There was a Mortal Kombat phone game that came out that was listed as horrible, but in their mind, they're like, we would love it to where you could do Mortal Kombat like on the phone. Nobody wanted it. Like,
Yeah.
the gamer keeps showing you that we want it. Pal World didn't succeed because it was live service. Pal World succeeded because it kind of called out Pokemon by being Pokemon with guns. It wasn't super expensive, and
Right.
everybody jumped on the bandwagon, right? Foam Stars was given for free on PlayStation Plus, and it's still nobody played it. There are people refunding Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because it's falling under player count, and Sony's giving the money back. Someone
Yeah.
sent a screenshot and showed it. So I want these investors need to get out of gaming because they are actively ruining it, and it's like how they don't see it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it might happen sooner than later because I know a lot of people was making their videos talking about the gaming crash or the great reset in gaming. I think we're getting close to that because they're gonna have to like rethink their position in gaming, which might force the AA games to be, more in the forefront because I guess if you do take away investor money, then you kind of take away the AAA game overall.
Yep.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the company,
They
depends on
just
their overhead and all of that.
AAA needs to go down, like just kind of like quit for a while. AA rise up, take over, right? AAA
Yeah.
can come back and again it can be the point where like AA is experimental, AAA is your guaranteed to work. But guaranteed to work doesn't mean live service, right? Like
Hmm.
Spider-Man 2 was guaranteed to sell. So of course make Spider-Man 3 because it's guaranteed to sell. That's a guarantee to sell. Looking at Wonder Woman and going, hey, you know what? Maybe we should make a game instead called The Amazons and it's a live service battle royal. That's not a guarantee to work. That's where they always lean. Like all they have to do for Hogwarts 2, new story, either let you be your previous student and like you're in the next year, but I think he was in his last year when he transferred. So you
Hmm.
could just new student, something like that. Um and add in Quidditch. That's literally all they got to do. Add in Quidditch and let you interact with more people in the real world. And it doesn't even have to be like side quests. It could easily be like on Spider-Man where you can just high five everybody.
Yeah.
Like just let you interact with the real world. Add in Quidditch, a new story, maybe a new student. Done. Right? Like
Yeah.
it's very easy, and their game will sell. Like they don't have to try and radically just do extra. When I hear they even when they say things, it's like we want them to be in our games where they can like live and build and have fun. That means the whole one. That means the whole thing is not having fun. It's like a job that you're checking in to do.
Hmm.
Two, they threw that word build in there, which makes me think it's because they just saw Power World and they were like, oh, people like to build stuff, so let's just put building in it. Minecraft. Let's just put building in.
Hmm.
They're just using the words that they think people want to hear.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I do think it's concerning that a game like Hogwarts might be compromised. It's funny
Yep.
enough because that's still like one of the games that people are trying to pretend don't exist for other reasons. But we'll
But
see.
yeah, I think that's what's upsetting me is like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League should have been a fun game, right? It's a DC game. I'm a DC fanboy. I should have been jumping to go get this game. I should have already beat like at this point, and
Right.
I don't even really want to play it. And then I don't know what's gonna happen with Wonder Woman. We'll see. But then Hogwarts Legacy 2 should be again a down, no brainer. And it's like, is it? Because whatever they think they want to do, like makes me maybe not want to get it. And it's like you're ruining the ones that would be a day one for me. That's the issue. You're not like them wanting to make foam stars. Like whatever studio did that. It's like, do you think you failed? But do you think whatever? But it's when
Yeah.
you're taking the things that I specifically would be like a great thing, like Gotham Knights. That should have been a great thing. But you could tell they tried to go with the Marvel Avengers route and got to it early enough to take out the live servicey things. But it still had its stuff in there, messed up the game. And it's just like, stop ruining the ones I want to play.
Yeah. Um it does suck with that particular one though. Hogwarts was like 23, 24 mil. To see something like
Yep.
that probably get compromised. Hopefully they, a game like that will probably still take some time, and then maybe they can see the light in the middle of production instead of like the end of production, so they can have enough time to like adjust. And see as
I
time
just need
progressed, like more backlash towards this for them to have enough meetings to say maybe this isn't a good idea.
I need people who don't understand gaming to stop giving direction. Right? Like when you have your developers making the game, they know how to make games because they're the developer. They know what they're doing. Just
Right.
trust them to do it. Don't walk in and say, "Well, I gotta have this in it and this in it," because that's what the market likes. Like, we don't care. Like, just let them. Like, they know what people are gonna want to buy if you let the gamer make the game. That's why Baldur's Gate 3 was so good because all of them were gamers and they're just like, we know what people are gonna want to play, and they were able to put it all in the game and it worked out. That's why Elden Ring did so well. Right? They didn't have somebody down their throat saying, leave that out and make that a paid for skin.
Right.
Right? Like you didn't have that behind them. They just got to make their game. And then they got to make Armored Core 6, which also did well. Like it's let them just make the game. You invest your money into it, you'll get paid back. You don't need to also try and run it, especially when you don't know how to. Like it's people who's never played. Like the last thing was like, oh yeah, I remember Pong back everything or Space Invaders. I love me some Space Invaders. So let me tell you how to make the next AAA game.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I hope that
But
they have their meetings and stuff and reconsider some things, because it'll be clear as day when they see like the backlash and stuff, because something like Suicide Squads is already being discounted from what I was seeing,
yep,
because it was just not doing too good. Like in your normal retailers you'll see it at full price, but when you go to like the online places like Amazon especially, you'll start to see discounts and stuff. So it
yep.
is what it is. I
On to a lighter note though. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention because I think this might have been your last thing here, and then we could probably get going.
Yeah. Let me
WWE
ask.
2K24. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Let me ask you something. Who
Yeah,
would you say was the best rival for Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I mean clearly it should have been The Rock. Just
Uh huh.
for the marketing standpoint.
That's
Um,
fair. Who's the second greatest rival?
maybe Shawn Michaels. Maybe if you're talking Stone
Okay.
Cold, maybe.
Yeah.
Because that was who he beat in order to like officially kick off his run as like Stone Cold, like afterwards be like a rival to Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon just throw everything at him.
Who?
So I would probably say that for sure.
Wait, who? Who'd you just mention?
So the first showcase should be The Rock. The second one I would say Shawn Michaels, just because that's who he beat in order to like be like the like basically kick off Stone Cold as a whole era, which won in the ratings and stuff for a long time and everything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Should they have any other rivalries besides that?
I mean, you know what's funny? Stone Cold's peak in his career was very short. It's just we referenced him for so long afterwards, but in like his longevity isn't really there. But I guess if I was to give him a third one, I would go even further back to Bret Hart.
Okay.
Basically.
That's cool. So you can run a showcase without one of the everyone else is considered gravest rival.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there is one name that usually gets associated with Stone Cold.
Okay.
Yeah, he don't exist anymore though.
Oh.
And that's Vince McMahon. Yeah. He's been blurred out of like a lot of the showcase footage.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. When they show it, it looks so silly to me.
Yeah,
it's
so
like
not all of it, but some of it. So like he was out there with Charlotte, and he's been blurred. Brock Lesnar has also been removed from the game, and like, what's the status? He even said that like his content stuff is like completely blocked, so it can't appear on Community Creation.
It's so silly.
You can't dig through the files and upload it. So stop asking.
It's silly because we also got some information that Paul Heyman is supposed to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's like quite literally like 70%, like like all of what his work is known for from a lot of people. Like he's done obviously more, and he had a big influence through ECW and stuff, but there's a bulk of his career that obviously you cannot ignore, which is Brock Lesnar. It's like you can't ignore it.
So what's gonna happen is he did ECW, left, and then came back to be the wise man for.
Stupid. That's so stupid. That reminds me of when Triple H went out there with Sting and was like, "You went missing for 14 years. We don't know what happened." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Vince McMahon don't exist anymore, right? It was Brett did screw Brett because there wasn't another person there to screw you know, and yeah, there was none of this Vince McMahon stuff ever existed. Who's that? We don't know who that is.
There's in no way.
Forget it. And I feel like for 2K24, their issue was their showcase this year, which a lot of people have complained about because the previous showcases, you were living through like one particular person's story as they go through it. It's real cool. Where for this one, they said it felt more like an advertisement for WrestleMania because it was just kind of showing the greatest WrestleMania moments.
Mm-hmm.
However, you got to do the greatest WrestleMania moments without mentioning Brock Lesnar, Chris Benoit, anybody in AEW, anybody who you lost your contract with,
it gets goofy
anybody
after a
in New
while.
Japan, and then it's like, who? You gotta just be like, yes, this happened, and then fast forward, like John Cena won his United States Championship against someone, and then got to move on the following year, or what was that? It was do-rag invisibility. Like there's no do-rag. Do-rag invisibility. Can't mention him anymore.
There's no way to erase Vince. It's just silly. Even
They're
with
trying.
him, like if you blurred him out, like who's gonna sit there and be like, I don't know who that is. Like it's goofy. There's no way. Like this is the one person you can't erase. Like you just can't. It's impossible. You cannot erase. That's so silly too. It's like you would never be able to do a true documentary on the company anymore because it would have to mention him at some point. Like they're silly.
So it was owned by Vincent J. McMahon, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when it was just ran for a while, and then eventually Triple H took over.
Okay.
That's how they gotta put it, man. Yeah,
I would
it
say the
was slow, but
2K24, man, they really do got to work on those graphics. Like it just seems like 1 minute it might look really good, next minute it's like really Play-Doh looking.
huh?
I don't
Well,
know.
I've heard a lot of people said 24 looks really good.
It just to me it looks like I earlier today I actually pulled up side by side the game next to like one of the PlayStation 2 versions of like one of
For
the SmackDown
24?
versus Raw, and just saw that it just didn't look like it was that much better at all. It looked like it's
For
still kind
20
of
for 24?
yeah. I put it on
I would
two
look it up
screens.
because the stuff that I've seen, it looks a lot. It looks better.
They
Uh,
move slower. That's something that
I
I've noticed. Like it's noticeably a lot slower than like SmackDown versus Raw 2006, for example.
True, but the old
Um,
ones are also a little more arcadey, where these ones are supposed to be more simulation. So the
yeah,
arcadey ones move a little
but I feel
faster.
like they move slower than the real life matches, in my opinion. But
Maybe. I don't
I
know.
guess it is what it is. But
I don't plan on getting this one because I barely played 23. Uh, and I feel like if I'm going to play, I'm just going to go back and play some 23 and call it a day.
I will start
Till the
picking them
rest,
up again once the whole interest music thing goes back to where it
oh, you,
was.
and literally all they have to do, I know all they have to do is partner with Spotify.
Yeah, I
Like
don't.
literally partner with Spotify and then have it set up to where you can pick a Spotify song as the person's entrance music. And I know one of their whole things was like for the copyright stuff,
Yeah,
I guess. Here's how you fix that. It was very easy. You just know music when they play online. Right? If a person's doing the online matches, right?
yeah,
And you because then it's not like you're not breaking any copyright thing because the person's only listening to it when they're not online on their own thing. Right? Like there used to be a whole thing where it was like certain if you use created wrestling the online matches, certain images, like if you put custom images on there, the images wouldn't show if you were doing online matches and everything. And it was because of like they don't have a copyright over the image, right? Where you're
yeah.
using them on your own system, you're not advertising them or doing them for anything like that. But then it's like promotion elsewhere, I guess. I don't know how that copyright works, but the same thing applies to the music. So it's just if you're not planning to play online all day, right, and you're just trying to set up your own universe mode, you should be more than allowed to put your own music.
I agree. Yeah, that's what stopped me from buying them, to be honest. But
Fair.
yeah, I guess it is what it is. But I think that might be all that we got. So
Yeah, I
good
got them.
episode. Shout out to Game on the Screen, Star Wars
Oh
Jedi Survivor. Um,
man, this game got so frustrating at certain points.
for real.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't like the combat in this one.
Uh
The combat in the first game for me was a lot better. I feel like this one they specifically try to overwhelm you. I think it was the thing I was telling you where it's like you're supposed to time your attacks and parry like at the Dark Souls game.
oh. Mm-hmm.
However, everything's coming at you at once, so it's like you can't like if you only have a certain block meter, right? And five different things are attacking, you're gonna get stunned and hit. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Like, but then if you try to run through and hack and slash, you're getting parried. So it's like, how do you want me to fight? Like, like that's the issue. Is the game is like they're trying to do God of War with Dark Souls combat at the same time, and that does not work. Like you can't do
Mm,
both. Pick one. Where like for the first game, it was very you have to parry, time your attack, and things like that, and it was fine. Uh, and this one, no, they especially when they try to throw like five enemies at you at once. And when some of them, because then you got the ones coming at you to swing, and they'll have unblockable swing attacks, even though they're supposed to highlight a certain color, whether it's unblockable, but they don't care. They'll just do an unblockable attack and give you no highlighting, while enemies are also shooting at you. So you're getting stunned hit from the enemy shooting just to have the unblockable guy hit you, or it would be a move you can block, but you use up your entire block meter blocking the people shooting at you. That when the other dude comes up to hit you, Then you get hit, stun locked, and then everything hits you at once.
Mm.
So especially when you get towards the end of the game, yeah, combat was not great. Oh, the new game that's on the screen, Uncharted. This is also a really fun game.
Yeah, we probably show this one next week since it's at the beginning, cause it started as soon as we was in there. But that's all right. Yeah, you guys will hear more from me probably later on in the week regarding some of the topics. And yeah, good episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.